Go in 3, 2, 1. Sometimes. All right, here we go. Here we go in 3, 2, 1. All right, pause it over there. All right. All right, everybody, welcome to another edition of as you see, the HBCU Daily Grind, Resources Beyond the Yard. My name is Omar Muhammad, helping you improve and progress in business and in life. Also, HBCU advocate, been an HBCU advocate for many years. So I'm glad to be here. So before we get started, as you can see, we always have special guests. So we have a special guest coming on board. So the HBCU Daily Grind is all about a workshop, a workshop where I bring on the HBCU alum. And it's really not just about their business, but it's about life as well. So that's what we're looking to share here. So don't forget to follow us on all of the social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, at HBCU. How do you spell it? HBCU by association. That's where you can find us. And we're also at hbcuByAssociation.com to find us. So with that said, we're going to bring on our special guest. And let me be transparent, y'all. I've known this guy for a number of years, so it don't think that I'm just going to bring the people that I know. In the beginning, I will do that. But we're here now. So I want to welcome Josh Bush to the HBCU Daily Grind. Hey, man, what's going on?
Thank you. No, it's a pleasure to be here on your amazing platform. I've had about 10 years exposure to you and just watching what you've done with entrepreneurs, EDAC, the Women's Entrepreneur Conference. Yeah. And it's just been amazing to see where it is now, but also to have been a part of it in the past in little doses.
Absolutely. Definitely appreciate you. So with that said, people probably already know, but, shout out your HBCU, what HBCU you go to. You can talk about your major and all that good stuff too.
Absolutely. Morgan State University, 2013, speech communication. And no, I did not just go to school to learn how to talk, but it definitely did help. Yeah, that was first 2 years of really trying to explain the degree, but really that's really been a foundational point from Dr. Dorsey Elson's tutelage. And there was a few other professors there at the time, Dr. Peter Nwafor, who really laid a foundation on how that's going to help with selling yourself, professional selling, speaking about your business, telling stories, and so on, and communicating with your team. Definitely.
There you go, communicate with your team as well. So I kind of look at this HBCU Daily Grind and just HBCUs in general, kind of in 4 quadrants. It's probably more, but I like 4. It's like everything happens in 4s. So I like 4s. So I'm going to throw out some and you pick whichever one you want to talk about as your experience on campus and then once you graduated. So the 4 quadrants, it happens to be HBCU. The H stands for homecoming.
Okay.
The B stands for Black excellence, and that could be the history of the university, some of the professors, the degree. You already talked about some of the professors. The C stands for clubs and organizations, and the U stands for a united place. There was a united place. When I was at Morgan State University, the bridge was kind of the united place for us. It could be some type of eatery, but also some place where you had fun, you learned, and you networked. So HBCU, homecoming, Black excellence, clubs and organizations, and then united place. What resonates with you?
Oh, no, great question. Am I able to choose more than one quadrant, or do I have to just choose one?
Oh, man, this ain't no test. You can do what you want to do. Yes.
I wanted to follow the show rules. I wanted to follow the rules of the show. So the first one I'll start with is Black excellence. When I think about Black excellence, I think about several people come to mind. Mike Spikes, University of Taste. I remember when he came with the concept on a piece of paper, And through your mentorship and guidance, I saw how sponsorship, but also guidance played a really big role in how far he was able to take his clothing brand, which turned into a media company later and so on. Faye Odukola, Project Beautify You, which was a platform and also a nonprofit built to nurture young women across the globe. And just seeing her build a nonprofit with structure, like actually have the bones and the pieces to actually go after grants and resources to support her mission. I think about Akinremi Akinsanya, Remy Sells Homes
Yeah.
DMV.
Oh man, you go back. Yes, yes.
Yeah, these veterans. Akinremi in the real estate space now, but I've seen him really service the Morgan State community through real estate, which in a home ownership, which is powerful. Eugene Celestin and Brandon, love Brandon, and also co-founder of Vambiance. And then also Daquan Lawrence out of Smooth Strong Men Overcoming Obstacles Through Hard Work. Daquan did a phenomenal, I thought his leadership and how he was able to organize and bring young Black men together was phenomenal for campus, and also reinforcing, just a lot of the things, the principles that the campus was built on. In regards to unity, where did I see unity happen? Unity happened everywhere, Omar. And the reason why I say that was because in the classroom, if you were struggling with a class and you fortunately enough had a classmate, you built a community there and started working together to not fail together, hopefully. Essentially also the refat or the cafeteria, as well as just,
That's great.
I'm trying to think, the bridge was definitely one, but it definitely went down also in the library. Morgan invested tremendously in a state-of-the-art library where there was enough room and space for us to learn and to advance. So I think the library as well, but the apartments, if you were in Morgan View or Rawlings or anywhere, those areas were where lifetime friendships, relationships were built. And because you saw
Yeah.
people at various phases of their life early on. And so, the other one was, what was the other one? I thought it was a C.
So clubs, man.
Clubs.
Clubs
Oh,
and organization, and you miss homecoming. I mean, that's the
I mean,
thing.
homecoming. Anybody who knows me,
Yeah.
I'm pretty square
Yeah.
when it comes to I'm a square when it comes to homecoming. So that was the last H. But
Yeah.
when it comes when
The
it
club
clubs,
organizations.
EDAC was a big deal because it was when it came down to entrepreneurship, I spent a lot of time there just learning with other people in that incubator space. So EDAC was a really big, the
Yeah.
entrepreneurship club was really big and important to me because a lot of the conversations around trademarks and your team and your board of directors or marketing and just getting in front of resources, that was there early on. So that club. And then also, like I mentioned, Smooth, we had started something unofficially called Men of Substance. And that was if you talk
Yeah.
about unity and united, that was something that was really important and meaningful because it was a collection of brothers that just really wanted more and was willing to push themselves no matter the circumstances. So, but yeah, those would be my answers. Homecoming is classic. I told you I'm a square.
It's all good. So I want to talk about now your entrepreneurial journey. I mean, you now we're talking about resources beyond the yard. So how did you get to business, and I mean, what really led you to entrepreneurship?
Okay. So I think what led me to entrepreneurship, if I were to start with that, is I always had a vision of seeing and things a certain way and wanting them to be that way. That sounds like a really politically correct way to say I wanted control, I wanted authority, I wanted power, but I really wanted power over the direction and the strategy and the vision of what it is that I was doing.
Yeah.
So my watching Mike Spikes and Faye and just them take their journey gave me a lot of confidence, and also seeing like someone build an organization with more than 100 plus members gave me a lot of inspiration of what was possible. And so I started, my first business was Seventh Consultative, which was like a social pro bono consulting firm where we work with women organized against rape and just worked on social issues. The University of Pennsylvania around their DEI initiatives and some of the DEI programming. And then moving into after seventh consultant, the pandemic, I got a background in restaurants and hospitality about like 15 years. So I was a part of a few business clubs and never really felt like the service standard was really up to par with what I had seen. And so with that, when the pandemic kicked off, people were very hesitant to go out and eat. People were very hesitant to really see what COVID practices were. And then also the restaurant industry took a major hit. Yeah. So I started Vambiance, which came out of the whole concept of the ambiance, where you have an atmosphere, you have great food, great people, which lends to a great experience. And our first real focus was around food security. So it was around food security within New Jersey and Newark with youth. And what we were looking at was, how do we create a food security program that can target some of these food deserts, because children's learning is impacted by their actual diet, their overall social emotional learning. So there's a whole big project happening around this now that we're working on. But these were some of the topics at the forefront of my mind when I wanted to explore what kind of business like I went into, where I could lean in on my experience with like hospitality and food service. And then also just also doing like just good, like something that has like the Tom's principle, where you get a pair of shoes and then you can give something. The three Vambiance is so event catering, event planning, and also event filming. We're leaning much more into the film space right now. And that is by way of what we've seen is the market. Every event, there's always a plan, there's always food, and there's always you need a film or something to tell the story. So
absolutely, story, and that's important. You know, it's interesting, Josh. When I work with entrepreneurs, especially you under 35, right?
Yeah, for now.
Yeah. For now. All right. So when I work with individuals under 35, their business has some type of social component to it. So was that designed for your company?
Yes. Yeah, because before we get our first client, the best way to what we could have started with is a case of how can we improve someone's living conditions. And we were doing a lot of work with the I Have a Dream Foundation in New Jersey. And so one of their primary goals and the key success metric outcomes is reducing food deserts within the Newark area.
So I remember you doing some nonprofit work some years ago too. And I'm just listening to your, the language that you're using. And not only does it relate to nonprofits, it also relates to for-profits as well. When you say key success, I'm measuring these outcomes.
Definitely.
I know where they came from, but share with the audience. I mean, where did that come from?
The key success metrics came from in me wanting to entrepreneurship. It led me. The reason why I was connected or wanted to do entrepreneurship was because the success factors that others were evaluating and looking at, I just didn't think they were really success factions. And then when it came down to implementation and execution, it just seemed like these projects sound great or the initiatives sound wonderful, but they really didn't impact the community or the areas that are, suffering from such in a way that I thought there was a real impact. So for me, being able to actually be a part of a process of creating a resource, a tool, a service that can target and actually improve that by organizing executive chefs, Michelin star rated chefs, doing food programs. The I Have a Dream Foundation just launched a pantry for like culinary arts. And so it gives a leading hand to actually being able to create impact, which is how many children were fed, what were they fed, what was their caloric intake, and overall social emotionally, how did they feel while going through their academic learning journey. That can all be tracked and evaluated. So did that answer your question? I hope
It did, because I have a follow-up question now. So as entrepreneurs are tuned in now, to the HBCU Daily Grind. I'm just thinking now, when I work with entrepreneurs, they said that in their marketing plan, I'm gonna go out and use social media. I'm gonna do some flyers to build up my customer base. And my question is always, how are you going to measure that? So with that, what advice can you give to individuals to really help them measure their the activities that they're putting out? I mean, you just can't go ahead and do it without having any measurement. I mean, I understand that you're a solo entrepreneur, but let me allow you to answer that. You're the expert.
Oh, the expert. I'll be careful with that one. So what I'll say is that in measuring success, what I've realized is that social media likes doesn't equate to buys. And I think that's probably been one of the biggest lessons is social media likes, like 300 people can like what you put up. 5 can like it, but I've seen when I look at the economics of entrepreneurship and business, it's relationships and the quality of those relationships that you have that will catapult your business and your vision forward. So it's relationships. And if you're spending so much time on social media trying to build that, you artificially, it's like the metaverse, you have a digital art piece there. But as far as the connection, the mind and the hearts of your buyers, that's really what's at the forefront. And I like the approach of bootstrapping and grassroots of making connections and building in-person relationships because I look at my team like the special forces. It's not a lot of us, but a lot of people are specialized in doing a lot of different things. And so that comes from relationships that were 5, 7, 10, 11, 12 years. It doesn't come with knowing someone just 3, 4, 5, 6 months, or just putting them through an interview, 4-stage interview. So I think my whole piece around marketing and key success metrics is really getting into who your buyer is and who your audience is deeply, and not thinking from your lens, but thinking from theirs and really putting yourself in their shoes. Because once you understand who your audience is and your market is, the way you start shaping your product or your delivery or even your service order of operations or so is going to be aligned with who your audience is and not your own values.
Yeah. So customer, I call it customer discovery, understanding what your customer needs. What problem are you solving in a marketplace? So I like that. And I like the idea that you called your team special force. So, talk about that. How did you get to the point where you were able to move beyond you and your business partner, meaning having some additional people?
So it really came from realizing the burnout, actually, when you're doing 100 hours a week or 150
You
hours
mean
a
that's
week.
real?
So, it's a little bit, just a little.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
when you're
Okay.
doing 100, 150 hours a week, and then how you show up with your loved ones or your friends or your family, you're always on business. You realize that you need a team. You need individuals who you can trust, that can execute the mission, figure it out, find things, help you discover things, and really move it forward. So I started with close friends who were willing to go down this rabbit hole. And some people stayed, some people said, this may not be for me. And now we went from 2 to about 11 person team. And we work agile. So our interview or working process is really, you start working with us immediately on something. And then we see whether or not it's really a fit, or if you enjoy the work, or if you're a contributing member, because we realize that, it may not be the culture and such is demanding when you're the special forces. And I say this not facetiously, but it comes from I studied and worked and was mentored by an Army Ranger for the course of 10 years. So a lot of the lessons in the exchange that came from our time together and just watching him and looking at his process and strategy and decision making and such really informed how I thought about building my team. And it was great in the spirit of Black History Month. It was a Black man too. So it's when you're able to take in those experiences, but get that exposure, it starts having, it gave me an opportunity to rethink how I thought about teams. And then for schoolwork, I was studying healthcare workforce teams and the special forces and how they work together. So I've taken a lot of what I've seen with team development, team building,
Hey,
and I
Josh,
thought
you
about it.
froze.
Oh, sorry.
Josh,
Am I back now?
Josh, can you hear me? Yeah, you back now. Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that.
Well, at
But
least your
basically,
voice is your face is great. It's frozen,
oh
but we
no,
can
it's
hear
still
your
freezing.
voice.
Okay, let's. No, that's
But
unfortunate.
we hear your voice.
Okay,
It's all
well,
good.
I'll go with it that way. Hopefully, the freeze impose is not too bad. But essentially,
No.
the my time studying the special forces, being mentored by an Army Ranger for over the course of 10 years, and then also looking at healthcare workforce teams led to a lot of my understanding around team building and how important team building is in emergency situations. So if you think about agile is typically you're addressing urgent something urgently. So that there's a correlationship with how you may organize a structure to solve a problem or do something or collaborate together on something.
Mm. You're back now. So that's good, agile. I do some work with some government contractors around that. And, team building was truly something, it's really a gift and sometimes could be a curse as well. So having, I should say team really, even team builders sometimes could be that. But having a team to move you to the next level is really important because you can't do it all. And you talked about this burnout and mental health challenges that entrepreneurs have, but we don't talk about. So I need to bring somebody on here to talk about mental health. So definitely having that team in place is truly important. So what's really next for? Let me get it right. Ambiance.
Right, you got it. It's
It's
like but with just
ambiance, but it's
Vambiance.
vibe.
You can say what you do
Ambiance.
this one of these things.
I know.
Vambiance. Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what's next for you?
So we have quite a few exciting things happening. So we're launching probably like 6 products at once, which sounds
Oh, wow.
maddening. But one of them, the projects that I'm super excited about is called Astro, which we'll give a sneak peek preview to on the 22nd of this month. It's in the spirit of Black History Month. We are filming someone who is immensely dynamic, super dynamic. And I'll put it to you this way. We're documenting the next Hidden Figures. That's we have a visual
Wow.
for
Okay.
that movie Hidden Figures. We have a visual for the next Hidden Figure. So I'm super excited when that
Oh,
we can show some.
yeah.
The second piece is that I have a project called Project X that we're working on, which is in relation to our catering and event planning side. I would like to talk to you more about it, Mr. Muhammad, but it's going to change the way
Man, you over
supply.
21 now. You can call me open.
Oh my, right. I went back. I went back to the bridge. I was crossing. I saw the Frederick Douglass statue. I was coming across the line and going to the Earl Gray's business school, and it stuck with me
Yeah,
for a moment. But
it's all
essentially,
good.
I would love to talk to you more about it. We think that it really can disrupt the supply chain piece and delivery in combination with event planning and event catering specifically. So I'll talk to you more about that off camera. And then the other project we're doing is Femme Noir, Noir Femme, Woman in Black, Black Woman, which is in the spirit of 8 entrepreneurs, Black women who are doing some dynamic work, but also it's Woman in Black. So it's not just featuring Black women, it's also featuring Latino, white, and Asian, and so on. So we're super excited about that. All that is being done as we speak now, and I will have more to update on in the coming months. The last thing is that I didn't mention is we're looking to build our repository of Black chefs for this food
Oh,
security
wow.
initiative, but also for our events catering service line. We've gotten a lot of
So
requests,
Josh,
and so
are you looking locally?
we're in
Are you looking
the
for black
DMV
chefs
area. We're in
locally?
Philadelphia. We do local. We do
Okay.
Philadelphia. We service California. Our model is based on being able to pop up luxury wise. So we pop
Mm.
up anywhere. We figure out how to pull all the pieces together, and then we name the location based on regulations specific. I have to say that because people have picked locations that we were like, we're not supposed to be
Yeah,
here.
right, right,
So, but yeah,
right.
that's in a nutshell. We're just seeking more chefs to add to the repository to support Black-owned businesses and the Black culinary arts as well.
All right. So I know you have website and probably social media. So how can people reach out to you, and, stay abreast of all these exciting opportunities that you have?
Awesome. So you can check us out at www.vambiance, and think ambiance, how ambiance is spelled, just add the V at the beginning, Vambiance.
Yeah.
.com. That's where you'll find our events calendar, what we're working, some of the things that we're working on, some of our other initiatives, as well as our service offerings. But that's really, and also you can see some of our existing work and some of the things that we filmed and shot most recently. That's all on the website under featured film as well. And then our Instagram is 88, handle is 88, like think Kobe, double up, 88, Vambiance 88. And again, our Instagram is Instagram at 88 Vambiance 88. And you can kind of track some of our creative and some of the previous things that we've worked on while there. We have a few surprising events that'll be happening, but I can't release it because due to the client piece. So I'm excited to put it on the website, but definitely make sure you stay on the website to see what we have going on.
All right. And, the final question is, your experience in an HBCU. What has been your experience, and did it really help you in life? What did it really help you in life?
It did, because it gave the HBCU experience gave me a sense of personhood, a sense of self. I think that other institutions are great when it comes down to learning and academia. However, I think one of the biggest things that's important is, and I had this conversation with who now is the president of Morehouse, Dr. David A. Thomas, and one of the things he had mentioned was, how important it is for you to have a strong sense of self and personhood when it came down to you operating in business. He was the former dean for the Georgetown McDonough School of Business, and the biggest thing that he was focused on was transformational leaders. Who are you as a person, and do you know who you are? And I think the HBCU experience helps with grounding who you are as a Black person or a person of color. So there's just something special there, and very communal. Second piece is there's still the nature of grit, resilience, because it's academia. So Morgan State specifically is a leading research institution, and there's the level of rigor. I can tell you there were several professors that were giving us graduate level work when we were in undergrad. And when I got to grad school, I started seeing a lot of the same things, that the principles that were laid down. So I think that it's a breeding ground for really Black excellence to begin, and to really set some foundational understanding of yourself, which is very important.
That's a truly important, man. Really appreciate you, and appreciate just seeing you when I first met you. It seemed like you're still the same, and you just continue to improve and progress, as I always say. One more time, give out your contact information, because I want people to really reach out to you to learn about your business. I mean, I've seen some of your work, but it's good if they could go on the website to see some of your work as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. So once again, our website is www.vambiance.com. V as in Victor, AMBIANCE.com. And then also, if you want to reach out for any more details, our email is info@vambiance.com. And once again, info @vambiance.com. And the Instagram handle is 88 Vambiance 88. We can just check out some of our artistic and some of the previous things that we've done. But otherwise, I'm truly appreciative for you allowing time and space on your platform, Omar, because it's been truly a pleasure.
Absolutely. We'll definitely be in contact as well. So really appreciate you, Joshua, for coming on. Don't forget to follow us, y'all. We're on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, HBCU by Association. Like, share, subscribe. Send us some HBCU folk. I mean, if you know any HBCU alum that have just graduate, any HBCU alum, send them our way. We love to share their story here on the HBCU Daily Grind. And you can reach us at info at HBCU by Association. So, Josh, we're going to let you go, and I'm going to share with the listening audience what HBCU by Association is. I do want to thank you once again. I want to thank you all for tuning in to the HBCU Daily Grind. Until next time, that's my clock. Until next time, use HBCU resources to find the best in you. So thank you for that. So thank you, Joshua. I'm going to switch gears and I'm going to share my. Thank you. No problem.
Appreciate it, Omar. Take care.
Likewise. All right. I'm going to share my screen so you all can see. There we go. All right. So again, I want to thank Josh Bush for coming on board. And let me share my screen. So we always do this at the end of the show. Want people to know what we do. So HBCU by Association, finding the best in them. So the company is all about finding the best, helping you with resources to find the best in you. So you obviously need to the contents. We're here not just to talk about the entrepreneur. And I like what Josh said. He said, personhood. I never heard that before, but it's really about the person. So we focus on personal economy, of course, entrepreneurship. You have to make some money to be alive in this world, health and wellness, relationships, and lifelong learning. Those are the 4 key areas that we focus on. So our mission, as I indicated before, is really about helping those HBCU alum entrepreneurs, building a community to really help them find the best in them. So why did we come up with this company? Well, I mean, myself and my co-founders, we saw some of the challenges that HBCUs are having. Raising money, getting alum to come back to participate and with the school, but also with the students as well. Entrepreneurs not really having access to a number of resources, not just funding, but quality startup and capacity building. Now, we don't really need another entrepreneurial training program, to learn how to write a business plan. We need an entrepreneurial training program that's really helping individuals scale, build these networks, really understand the legislative ecosystem. And we have 2 podcasts. This podcast here is all about bringing on HBCU alum. The Entrepreneur HBCU Game Plan is all about working with any entrepreneur, and we provide resources for them. So I kind of talked about this, kind of jumped ahead, but anyway, we have the HBCU Alumni University, where we have resources. We do have some accelerator courses. We have a business capital. Well, we will have a business capital component because we want to make sure that there are funds available to those individuals that are starting their business. And of course, we have membership. We're going to start doing some live events, going around to HBCUs to really help build not only the entrepreneur, but the community around the HBCU. I already talked about the two media platforms that we have, podcasts, the Grind, which we're doing here, and the Game Plan. We also are gearing up for our coming this March, the HBCU by Association magazine. So if you want to contribute to the magazine, you could just email me at info@HBCU by Association. And we're focusing on those areas that I talked about. Of course, entrepreneurship, health, relationships, and lifelong learning. If you have some content, some really how-to content, that's what we're really looking for. how to content to help the entrepreneur move forward. And then we're going to do a number of series, possibly working with Josh since he has that capacity. And of course, we'll have some merchandise that we'll sell. And we're focused on the HBCU alum. We're really working with them to find the best in them. And then working with the alum, of course, we're going to work with the students as well as the residents around the HBCUs. That's our real focus, is to make sure we're building up not just the entrepreneur, but building up the school, the HBCU, and the community around the HBCU. And here's a dynamic team. You already met me, Omar Muhammad. You see Seal Higgins there. She's an HBCU grad. And our other founder, Ebony Gaynor is an HBC supporter. So this is the team that makes it work. And then we also have some extended team members. I'll start with the students first. So we are working on a student club. So if you are a student and you want to be a part of that, reach out to us. We also have some Raven fans, or I should call them ambassadors. These are individuals who really believe in HBCU and want to give back, want to connect us to their HBCU or HBCUs within the city or state that they live in. And then we have this association. I call it kind of our advisory board or our board of directors. These are individuals who really understand how alumni associations work. So we really want to make sure that we're part of that. And we have some individuals that are part of this HBCU by Association Council. So again, if you're interested in any of these, you can shoot me an email, info@HBCU by Association. And here it is right here, HBCU by Association. So we do have some events that are coming up. We have the game plan, HBCU game plan, coming up in March. If you want to be an entrepreneur that shares a challenge in your business and have some feedback provided to you by what I call SMEs, subject matter entrepreneurs, you can send us an email. And if you are one of those SMEs that would be interested in providing feedback to an entrepreneur, you can give us some feedback. You can email us, or you can go into our link tree right here, Linktree, and you'll have an opportunity to see how to be a guest on either of the shows and really to stay up to date on what we're doing as well. So that is it. That's our quick presentation. I really want to thank you all for coming on board. Look forward to the next one next week. We have a young lady from Spelman coming on board. So looking forward to that. So until next week, continue to improve and progress. Peace.